Hi everyone, Narelle here from Simply Stamping with Narelle, and today I'm going to make a card for the Cards for Ukraine cause. Now you've probably seen it around different places. People are creating cards to raise awareness for Ukraine, and because the Ukraine flag is blue and yellow and their national flower is sunflower, people are a lot of taking that theme and making cards and just sharing them on social media. So I thought I'm going to do a Cards for Ukraine card today, and I'm using the Whoops-a-Daisy digital stamp set from Polka Dot Orchard, and I've just printed out a few of the elements from that stamp set and the sentiment, and I've printed it twice because I plan to do 2 cards. I may only do 1 in this video, depends how I go, or I may do 2, we'll see. So these are not sunflowers, but they're daisies, and it's still a flower sort of like a sunflower, so I'm sure I'm fine. It's just, there's no hard and fast rules with the Cards for Ukraine creations that people are doing. It's just people are trying to do the blue and the yellow and a floral theme, but I've seen lots of different things as well. So I'm going to get started. So this is my image I'm going to colour. I already have a card already folded and scored and folded, and that's just a standard A4 piece of cardstock which I've cut down the middle to create my tent fold card. Then I have a piece of blue cardstock which is going to be my first layer on the card, and then this one is the one I'm going to shade and die cut the stamps out and put on the top. So that's the plan. Now the blue, I'm not sure if that's the right blue for the ink, because the inks I'm using are Ultra Sunray and Ultramarine, and I don't actually have any cardstock that perfectly matches that. I'm still using my old Stampin' Up stock of cardstock, so it's blue, it'll work, it will definitely be okay. Now I haven't blended with these either, these inks, so this is all new, but I thought, well, you know what, just get on there and do it, and let's make a card and see how we go. Alright, so this is going to be my base, or my card front I should say, and I'm going to blend it first in blue and yellow. Then I'm going to add some detail script stamping, and this is a really old Kaisercraft stamp set that I've got in my stash, Secret Bird Society Collection. I have no idea how old this is. I looked for a date and I don't see a date on it. It's old. Yeah, I have no idea how old it is. Someone can probably tell me, but I would have bought this in the early 2000s, 2004 maybe, something like that. Who knows? It's old. Definitely not a new, out there, latest creation. But we'll see how we go. Now I haven't used these inks to blend with. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I'm just going to give it a go. So just going to blend with the blue first. And some of this I will probably speed up because you don't want to sit here for 10 minutes watching someone play around blending ink. This is not a how to do it. Well, let's probably look at that as probably a how not to do it, I should say. But yeah, I will speed this up so that you're not sitting there forever. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how that came out, except for these splotches here, but it's not going to be that noticeable. One tip I will share with you though, if you're not used to blending, is don't blend over where you've just used a colour. So you'll see I had this here and I was blending with blue. If I had put the card this way and then started blending with yellow, I would have ended up with a green, because it will pick up the ink that's here on the the paper that is off on the side. So that's just a quick little tip. Now, what I wanted to do was this script stamp. I'm just going to randomly stamp it on the background in black. Now, I don't know if I've got this up the right way, so let's just do a, yeah, that looks good. Alright, so I don't want to do like an all over, I just want a little bit of script, and if it's different strengths of ink, that's fine. Okay, this one down here is probably a little bit too dark, but that's okay because some of it is going to be covered anyway. Right, I'm going to put that aside. I'm not completely happy with that, so I might come back and give it another treatment of some sort. But now I need to get on to colouring the flowers. And because I'm going to cut these out anyway, fussy cut them, I'm just going to cut this one out so I don't have so much paper that I'm dealing with. I'm going to bring in my Copics, and I'm just going to pick some colours that go together. I do have a chart of what works well together, but yeah, I may not use that. I probably won't use that. I don't even know if they go together, but hey, you just don't know until you try. So I'm simply going to colour the leaves, and again with this I will probably speed it up to some extent. So what I'm doing is colouring with the lightest first, then going back over with the next darkest, and then the next darkest again. Now, I am no Copic expert. I make it up as I go along. So, you know, please don't take what I say as gospel. There is experts in Copic colouring out there. I just have taught myself. I've done a few classes online, but it's never really been a huge passion of mine. I like quick crafting. So if I have to spend too long getting a leaf a perfect shade, then that's just not going to interest me. But I've learnt that what I do know that has soaked in with all that training, because you know, things in one ear and out the other, is start with the lightest colour, add your next darkest, and then finish with your darkest colour. And the brilliant thing about Copics is that they blend so seamlessly, and I have hardly any, as you can see, Copics. I would like to up my amount that I have, but I'll never be a serious Copic colourer. You know, I don't have the patience for that. So once I've done my 3 colours, I'm just going to go back over with the lightest just to blend them out a little bit. And I've learned, you know, how to do the shading and which way the light comes in, what should be darker, what should be lighter, but half the time I don't bother with that. So yeah, you're not going to be watching me to get the fantastic Copic tips so that you can become a brilliant colourer. That ain't going to happen with me. Right, so I'm just going to finish colouring these flowers, and then so I'll speed it up again, so you're not going to sit here and watch me colour them so much. But before I do, I just tell you the colours that I've chosen randomly. You saw how I chose them randomly for the flowers. I've got YG00, Y15 and YR23. And I've probably broken the rules there because they're not in the same colour family. Yes, they're all yellows, but this one is a yellow green, and the others are, well, one's a yellow red and one's just a yellow. So, you know, I've probably broken all the rules there, having them from 3 different colour families. But to me, they're all yellow, and that's all that matters. And I think they're blending okay. So I'll just keep going. Okay, so now I'm going to do the centers of the flowers, which are going to be a dark brown. And I've chosen E18 and E47. So again, I will start with the lightest colour. And with this one, this stamp, they already have some of the shading in the detail of the stamp. So that's what I call a cheetah stamp, which is perfect for me for my colouring. And I'm just going to go over in E47, the dark bits where the stamp is already shaded, and that will hopefully be all the detail that I need. I love stamps like that where they give you the shading area already. You don't have to work it out. Good for me. Alright, so I'm just going to come back in with a lighter one and shade that out a little bit, just along those edges. And of course, one thing I didn't realise when you coloured with Copic is that it does dry and blend in a little bit better than what you first think. So even if you think it looks horrible, it'll probably end up alright. Alright, so now greens for, I like those three together, sorry. Greens for the stems and the leaves. I have chosen G14, G07 and G17. Wow, I've got them all in one family. That's unusual. And if you don't know with Copic, they've got two ends. Well, these are the Copic Chows, however you pronounce it. One is the end that I've been using, which is the brush, and the other is a medium broad for like your bigger areas. I'm sure you all know that. Like, I feel like I'm so behind in the Copic world. You know, I used to have them, probably about 5-6 years ago. I was starting to build up my stash. And then I sort of got more heavily into Stampin' Up, and I wasn't using anything except Stampin' Up. And then Stampin' Up brought out their alcohol markers, so I never used the Copics. And then I got frustrated when I tried to use them because I really didn't know how to. So then I sold them all. Yeah. Fast forward to about 4 years ago. And I went, you know, these Stampin' Up alcohol markers not doing it for me. So I wanted to get back into the Copics, so I started buying them all. And I went, you idiot, Narelle. Like, you had a lot of them anyway. You sold them all. Yeah. Is it any wonder we all have big stashes of stuff, because we just never know when we're going to go back to using stuff. Alright, so the second green I'm adding just down one side of the stems and a little bit in the leaves, and this stamp already had some dark shading down the side there, so that's where I took my idea from. And a little bit on the middle of the leaves, and then I'm going to come in with the dark one. I'm not going to do much of the dark, just a very fine line down one side, and then I'm going to come back and shade it all together with the light one. Okay, so now the light one. And I've probably gone outside the lines a little bit, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to cut these out anyway. Alright, there we go. That colouring is done. Now I'm going to turn my attention back to this, and I don't like how dark that text is. I should have stamped off first. So what I'm going to do is blend back over the top, because I wanted it more in the background a bit, so I probably should have used like a different colour as well, not black. But it's okay, we can fix it. I'm just going to make our background a lot darker. I think I need practice with this shading, you know. And I think I'm a bit heavy-handed. But like, the brushes are designed for you to use like this. For me, that takes forever. I'm a really impatient crafter. Anyone else like that? Please say I'm not the only one. Like, I don't want to spend hours making a card. That's just, yeah. I could make several cards in that hour. And I'm going to call that, I think, done, because the flower when I cut out is going to cover some of that. So that's much better for the blue. And now I need to cover the yellow a bit more. Whoops. Oh, look at that. Fingernail full of yellow. These alt new ink pads too are probably about 4 years old. And you know, I've hardly used them. I fell into that trap that I was only using Stampin' Up. Nothing against Stampin' Up. I love their products. But I'd done my time with them. It was time to move on. And the budget, you know, going forward wasn't going to cope with me spending so much on my crafting. So then I thought, man, it's okay. I'll just, you know, spend time crafting for myself and all that sort of stuff. And then I came up with this wonderful idea that I still like sharing it with people, and why don't I start my own little online shop selling crafting supplies? So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So hopefully around, I don't know like when you're watching this, but around the 17th of March 2022, is that what year we're in? I think we're in 2022. My little online shop, simplynorelle.com, will have some other crafting stuff to purchase. Stamps and pattern paper, stuff like that. I'm going to be tailoring it to both the scrapbooker and the card maker. So there'll be a variety of stuff like the pattern paper I'm getting in. I'm going to try and get both 12x12 and 6x6 because if you don't know, the pattern papers are the same in a 12x12 and a 6x6 paper pad, except the prints are shrunk in the 6x6. So you still get the same effect in a card, but you don't have, like, say it's a huge floral. Like, say this was an image on a patterned paper. This is fine for 12x12 all over, but when you get a 6x6, it's just way too big. So they shrink it down, scale it down, so you still get the same effect, just in a smaller scale. So I'm going to be trying to get in papers that suit both. If a collection has both, then I'll try and always get both. So now I have some Minte papers coming in 6x6 and 12x12, which I'm really excited about. Now I have loaded up some stuff on my store. I haven't put any of it available to purchase as yet. I can't do that until the 17th of March. I legally cannot sell the items until the 17th of March. It's because of the program I'm going through to start up my small business. I have to comply to some government regulations. So I'm very impatient, and I'm finding it hard to not make my shop open to purchase the stuff yet. But anyway, we'll get there. It's only, today's Friday, so it's the 11th of March today, so when I'm making this video. So I don't have long to go, I just need to be patient. Now, if you jump on my online store, what you'll also notice is that there's stitching supplies on there. I am an avid cross stitcher, So I've decided to combine my two loves of paper crafting and cross stitching, and I'm going to also be stocking cross stitching supplies on that online store. So it's going to be the one place to go to if you're a cross stitcher, and the one place to go to if you're a paper crafter. And if you're like me and do both, then yeah, you'll think you've died and gone to heaven. Now, it's going to take me a little bit of time to get it fully stocked, the shop, because I'm starting a lean startup business, they call it. So you don't have a lot of funds to start with. So I'm buying as much stock as I can without going stupid and without blowing my very small budget that I have. And then, you know, once people start buying, then I can obviously purchase more. I'm not saying that in that everyone has to jump on and start buying as soon as I open it on the 17th of March. That'd be cool if it did, but don't feel any pressure. But just be aware that I can only stock product of what I can purchase. I'm not going to go into debt to purchase stock for the store. I don't see that as a viable business, and I can't do that to my family. I can't make them, you know, go into debt just because it's something that I want to do. That's not very fair. So anyway, that's what's going on. And you'll notice in the store, if you have been in there, I do have a lot of my old Stampin' Up stuff listed. So there's stamps, dies, embossing folders, inks. What else? I think that's probably about it in there. So I've sold a little bit, and that's actually the sale of that. Those secondhand Stampin' Up items are funding my other stuff that I'm buying. So yeah. Alright, so I'm just going to fast forward this because I'm just going to cussy fut. No, that's disgusting. That sounded horrible. Oh my lordy lord. That was a tongue twister. I'm going to fussy cut. Oh dear. Fussy cut the rest of this flower out. So, you know what? I'm going to speed it up. Okay, so I wanted to stop here and talk about how to do the middle section here that's white. Alright, several options. You can use a craft knife on a foam, you know, the cutting mats, and use an X-Acto knife or a craft knife to cut around there. Or my other option that I like to do sometimes is actually cut the stamp into pieces and then reassemble it. No one's going to know by the time I finished this card that I have done that, because you can stick them on basically pretty much the same as the original, or by doing my method you have a little bit more leeway in that you can rearrange the stamp if you want. And that's one thing I love about digital stamps. It's so much flexibility in using the images. You can resize them to whatever image size you want. So these come out quite big when you put them first into an image, so into a document. And I just resized it because I knew the size of the card, and I sized the image so that it would not be a complete card front size. So it's brilliant. And the way I print them is I just load the images into a Word document. So I open a new Word document and I just insert the pictures that I want to use, and then I resize them. And if you put grids and rulers on your Word document, it's really easy to see what size they're going to be. And I've got my Word rulers and stuff in inches, so I know a card front is roughly 4 by 5 3/4 inches. Then that's what size my biggest image will be if I want it to be full coverage on a card front, or I can size them accordingly. So it's really, really easy using digital stamps. Fantastic. So I will have Polka Dot Orchard link below. Alright, so I have just cut here at the base in there, so I could cut this section. And then here, I'm going to do the same. Just going to go up the stem. I don't like using those craft knives. I think they're very dangerous. And, I don't even have time to do a serious injury to myself. So this is my alternate. And because I didn't have to dissect it all apart, those stems will lay back flat perfectly. So that's a really easy way. And you'll notice, if you have never done fussy cutting, you'll notice that I didn't move the scissors, I moved the paper. So as I was cutting, I kept the scissors still, and I was just slowly closing them as I was moving the paper around. That's the easiest way to do fussy cutting. Alright, so here we go. We are going to sit that on there. Now I am going to put it on dimensionals to lift it above that card front. I actually like our blue because it's a little bit darker, so it gives a bit of contrast. And then our white card, that's basically what we're going to do. I'm going to put splatters on it because I'm splatter crazy at the moment. And the other thing I'm going to do is cut my sentiment. So it is just going to go on as it is. Doesn't matter that it is white. Now I don't know if you can see this off camera or not, but I'm just using my trimmer. That doesn't want to work. Just going to cut my sentiment. Just going to do a straight rectangle, no punches, nothing fancy. And I am hoping that I haven't cut that down too far when I trimmed it. I think we might be right. Hopefully that doesn't move and I get a straight cut and a straight sentiment. Okay, there we have our sentiment, and that is just going to go. I might even put it there. Alright, I don't want to cover the pretty flowers up. I want it on the flowers somehow. So perhaps something like that will be pretty. Alright, so let's do some splatters. And get everything away that's not going to get splattered on. Easiest way to do splatters. Now I want dark blue splatters, so they stand out. Should I do green? No, I'm going to do dark blue. Just put some ink for an ink pad on an acrylic block. Grab an aqua painter. Add some water. And then just tap. See, just like that. Beautiful. I love a good splatter. And I tend to go overboard, and it looks like it's, rained for a month non-stop. I shouldn't say that because we just had something similar in Brisbane. Oops, sorry. Shouldn't say that. That's not nice. I feel for all those people who've been affected by those floods. Oh my gosh, it is so bad. Literally the whole of east coast of Australia. Queensland, New South Wales. I saw Melbourne had a little bit of issue. Somewhere in Victoria had some issues. Gosh. Alright, so there's our background. I am going to find some dimensionals right in front of me. Find some mini dimensionals. And I might try and, no, I'm not going to, I'm just going to let them, I need to try and get them sitting flat, because when I put this on here, they're not going to sit flat. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I haven't gone overboard with the dimensionals, just enough to raise it. Backing's already off. That one doesn't feel very sticky. Alright, make sure that is lined up straight. Alright, now I'm going to curl these up a little bit. Pretty, pretty. I love this stamp. Really nice. So again, it's called Whoops-a-Daisy from Polka Dot Orchard. It's a digital stamp. It's very, very pretty. Alright, it's just a little bit of texture. I can't raise all of them when they're like joined. They're joined there, but you still get that effect. That one's joined there, so that's not going to curl. And obviously when you post it, it's going to flatten, but there's just a little bit of detail there. Now, the sentiment, I want to tuck, I was going to tuck it in here, wasn't I? Under there. No, I can't do that because my dimensionals are there. Well, that was a bit silly, wasn't it? We're just going to stick it there then. Or, won't worry about that leaf, maybe we put it there. Yeah, just do that. Okay. Sorry, leaf. Hopefully that's centered and that's straight. Across everything. It looks pretty good to me. It's unusual for me. I'm notorious at getting things crooked. Alright, so now I'm just going to glue this onto my blue piece of cardstock. Now the blue piece of cardstock is 4 inches by 5 3/4, and the white piece that I did all the work on is 3 7/8 by 5 5/8, something like that. It's just a smidgen smaller than the card base. So I just take an 1/8 of an inch off each layer as I go up from the card base, basically. Alright, there we go. Oh, that is so pretty. I love that. Wow, very nice. Oh, those colours are stunning. Alright, so there we have it. That's it. Thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this card. You've got some ideas and a few tips. So again, I've used the Alt New inks, Ultramarine, Sunray. I used an old Kaisercraft stamp set, Secret Bird Society, for the text. I used Copics. I'll have the colours listed below. Wait a minute, just trying to gather them all. Gosh. And I used the Copics to colour the flowers. And I'm missing a green. There it is. Okay. And I used the beautiful Daisy, Whoops-a-Daisy digital stamp set from Polka Dot Orchard. I'll have that linked below. In my online store at the moment, I don't have any Kaisercraft, I don't have any Copics, and I don't have any Alt New. Hopefully they're going to come in the next few months. We will see what suppliers I can actually get stuff from, and we'll see how it goes. So if you want to see what's in my online store, again, the website is Simply Narelle, so it's simplynarelle.com. And yeah, thanks for dropping by. I hope you are inspired, and this is my Cards for Ukraine card for this week. Thank you. Thanks for dropping by. If you like what I did, please like and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time. Bye.